Well, they had a lot of problems at that time, with a lot of crime and stuff. And that's one of the reasons that I was able to keep my kids at home. I know Michael always complained, but he never did have a childhood. He had a wonderful childhood. Why I say that? Because his childhood, he was there with his brothers and sisters. He always played with them. I just didn't want him out there playing with the kids and stuff
Michael Jackson rose to become the king of pop, but behind his incredible success was a deeply painful relationship with the father who helped shape his career. Joe Jackson played a major role in building Michael's path to fame, yet many fans believe he also left lasting emotional scars. What made the situation even more difficult was hearing Joe speak about Michael on live television. Rather than expressing remorse, he defended his actions, rejected the idea that he caused pain, and even drew comparisons between Michael and Jermaine. For many fans, it felt like Michael never truly received the recognition he deserved from his own father. And that is when this story starts to become genuinely unsettling.
They don't have any magic in what they're doing on stage. But Michael had it all, He was learning. He must have been rehearsing a little bit, off to the side when no one was looking, but he was very good dancing and spinning and doing the split, back then they were doing the split.
The James Brown split?
Yeah. Yeah. But he learned real fast.
So you saw magic in Michael?
I saw magic in all of them with Michael leading the songs, yeah. But Jermaine's a very good leader too. Jermaine, it's kind of hard to tell which one's the better singer, but I think Jermaine may be just a little bit better ballad singer than Michael is. But one thing Jermaine couldn't do, he couldn't dance and play that guitar like Michael could. Yeah,
So
Michael could dance, yeah.
Before Michael Jackson became a global superstar, even his own father did not see him as the group's lead singer. Michael later revealed that his mother had to convince Joe Jackson to listen to him perform because Joe had already chosen Jermaine as the one with the stronger voice. That detail is important because it exposes a painful reality from the very beginning. Michael already had the talent, the unique sound, and the qualities of a future star. Yet even in his own home, he still had to earn recognition. Long before the world celebrated him, he was struggling to gain approval from the person whose opinion mattered to him the most.
Sing, and he didn't want to hear of it. He said that Jermaine's the lead singer, not Michael. My mother said, Joe, you really should hear him sing. He can sing. He goes, no, Jermaine's the lead singer of the group, and that's it. She forced him to listen to me, and once he listened to me.
But life inside the Jackson household was about far more than music. Michael later shared that rehearsals were often surrounded by fear. He explained that Joe would sit nearby holding a belt while the children practiced, and if someone made a mistake, punishment could happen immediately. To everyone watching from the outside, the Jackson 5 appeared to be a joyful and gifted family living their dream. But behind the performances, Michael described a childhood where perfection was expected. Fear became part of everyday life, and a single mistake could lead to pain rather than support.
And if you miss a step, expect to be...
Just let me go back. You just said that you would practice the dance steps and your father would be holding a belt in his hand. Is that what you just said?
Yes. And he would tear you up if you missed. And so we, not only were we practicing, we were nervous rehearsing because he sat in the chair and he had this bell in his hand. And if you didn't do it the right way, he would tear you up.
Michael Jackson never described Joe Jackson's methods as ordinary or simply strict parenting. In Michael's eyes, rehearsals were about far more than improving songs or mastering dance routines. They were experiences filled with fear. Joe pushed the brothers relentlessly. And even when Michael became the standard everyone else was expected to match, that pressure never felt like a reward. It came with punishment, physical beatings, anxiety, and the constant fear of making a mistake. For Michael, those experiences did not fade away after he became famous. They turned into painful memories that stayed with him throughout adulthood and deeply influenced the way he reflected on the childhood he believed he had lost.
He only used a belt?
Why do you do this to me? No more than a belt.
What else would he use to hit you with?
Ironing cords. Throw you up against the wall as hard as he could. See, it's one thing to...
But you were only a child.
I know.
You were a baby.
I know. It's one thing to discipline.
And you were producing successful records.
I know. He would lose his temper. I just remember hearing my mother scream, "Joe, you're gonna kill him, you're gonna kill him, stop it, you're gonna kill him," you know, and I was so fast, you know, he couldn't catch me half the time, but oh my God.
Even many years later, when Michael Jackson had already become one of the most famous people in the world, speaking about his father still seemed to make him uneasy. During one interview, when he was asked whether Joe had been too strict, Michael paused, gave a nervous laugh, and joked that his father would kill him for answering. But beneath that moment of humor, the message was obvious. This was not a typical memory of a strict parent. It was a grown man who still showed signs of fear whenever his father's name was mentioned.
Poor. My father always prepared for the family, and as well as my mother. Always wonderful. And that's very important. They made sure we, you know, got the right things for ourselves. Strong parents are, I think, are very important, especially in our situation. If he hit me, I would hit him back, which was terrible. And I would run around the house and hide and all that stuff. But I would really get it more than anybody.
Do you think your father was too strict?
Yes. No, he's gonna kill me.
He's gonna get you still worried about that? Well, he feels that he was strict.
I'm glad he said it. Now I'll say it, yes.
While the world watched Michael Jackson smiling on stage, collecting awards, and setting new records, LaToya Jackson described a very different life behind the scenes. According to her, Michael was not only carrying painful childhood memories, she said that fear remained with him even at the peak of his success. That makes this story even more heartbreaking, because fame did not undo what had happened in private. Michael could stand in front of millions of people and perform with confidence, but according to LaToya, the emotional pain linked to his father's control never truly left him.
We called it a highly dysfunctional family, though on the surface it seemed like the American dream.
Yes, of course, naturally. In our family, because that was always that facade up there, smiling in front of the cameras, but when we got home, it was totally different. We lived an entirely different lifestyle at home.
Well, what was it like at home?
It was very, very hard. My father was very strict. He beat us.
Well, when you say he beat you, did he spank you, whip you? I mean, what
He
are you
had a
talking?
belt, you say in the book. But belts, whips, whatever. My brothers were grown, and my father would take his fist and he would punch them and knock them down the steps constantly.
Would they provoke him?
To this day, no, of course not. To this day, they are still afraid of my father, and they will tell you. They come to me and they say, LaToya, we have kids in college, and we're afraid of my father still today. But my mother allowed this to go on, which makes it so bad. She didn't stop it.
She, too, was an abuse victim, wasn't she?
My
Sometimes?
mother, by my father, according to my brother, yes. According to Michael, he would tell me he would see my father beating my mother. I have never seen my father beat my mother, but he beats all of us.
So did this persist all through your childhood and continue into young adulthood?
Adults, everything. I mean, Michael was doing, I think it was Off the Wall, Thriller, and he was still getting beat, but what you guys see is him up on the awards, accepting these awards, and smiling, and my father's chasing him around the house, and he's running from him, terrified.
And what makes this story even more heartbreaking is that LaToya said Michael was the one child who attempted to resist. But instead of the family openly confronting what had happened, she said the reaction was denial. That is why Michael's pain remained hidden behind the image of a flawless showbiz family. In public, they appeared talented, polished, and incredibly successful. Yet behind that image, there was fear, tension, and silence. For Michael, the most difficult part may not have been only what he experienced. it may have been the feeling that no one truly wanted to fully acknowledge it.
You said that Michael was the only one that actually tried to fight back and tried to hit your father.
He was a little boy, yes. He was the only one. I don't think he knew exactly what he was doing, but the more he would get beat, he'd throw it back at him and throw a shoe. He would have to always get the last lick in, always.
What's been the reaction of your family to this book?
I have no idea. My parents, of course, they're denying it, and of course, typical that they would deny it. Denial was the first sign of dysfunctional. And they accepted the book, and they can understand. They understand about the abuse. There wasn't just physical abuse, it was also mental abuse, which is very disturbing, and also sexual abuse as well.
That you don't write about in the book. You allude to it, that your sister
I
really
touch it
left.
very lightly because it's a very touchy subject, and it's dealing with my sister, and I wasn't able to talk about myself.
When Joe Jackson's parenting was discussed with Tito Jackson, his response was not what many Michael Jackson fans were expecting. Rather than describing Joe's actions as cruel, Tito defended him. He said their father was strict, but had his reasons, and he even referred to him as one of the greatest men. This shows how divided the family's story eventually became. Some people viewed Joe as the man who drove them toward greatness, while others focused on the pain that came with that success. For Michael's fans, that distinction matters, because the same discipline that helped create the...
Did you feel any level of resentment? Did you think that that was unnecessary, or just what you needed?
What I say about that is people can say what they want. You know, I know my life, my lifestyle. I respect people respect me. And my father was strict, but he had his reasons. You know,
you didn't think that those reasons were unreasonable. In the stars, and you have to have to some degree some level of appreciation for what got you there.
Absolutely.
So
totally.
you were appreciative of it.
Oh man, I have always said way back in the day that I think that my father did a fantastic job.
I don't wish bad on nobody, you know. But when somebody break the rules and it can be proven that they broke the rules, it has to be dealt with the law of the land. Yeah. But sometime in these deals like this, there's others are involved. Michael was not paying Dr. Murray. Michael wasn't buying this Provolone. And that's what we has to find out, who was paying for all this stuff. We know that Michael, matter of fact, I didn't even know that Michael was sick like this at all. Cause Catherine never knew it. Because if she had known it, all she would have to do was go up there and be with Michael, which I had told her to do that already, and she would have seen what was taking place. And as a mother, when you see something wrong that's going down with your son or daughter, you're going to complain. You're not going to sit there. You're going to open your mouth and say, no. And if that had taken place like that, and she had been there, Michael would be living right today.
The child.
Oh, that's a bunch of bull S. That's a bunch of bull S.
Straighten me out.
And that's not true.
You never physically harmed him.
Never have. And I raised him just like you would raise your kids, you know. But harm Michael for what? I have no reason. That's my son. I loved him, and I still love him.